I'm going to walk you through an exercise that essentially shows you how you can go about determining value, right? How you can go about figuring out what strategic opportunities are there for you to take advantage of, okay? What things are worth doing. It's very simple. You can apply it to absolutely anything that you're doing. So if you're working on a current project right now and you're struggling, trying to figure out what the right decisions are, I highly advise that you use everything I'm going to show you and use your current project in place of the examples that we're using here, okay? If not, make something up, make up a fictitious scenario, and go through the exercise with your made-up data, okay? Just so you can see how it works. First, let's revisit the critical piece that we just talked about, okay? And that's the trade-off between importance and feasibility, right? You got to remember, what are we trading off, and where on this graph does each feature fall? Right? The importance to the business of solving each problem or taking advantage of each opportunity. Counter that with the feasibility that you can actually build something that does those things, okay, with the limited time and resources that you have. Step 1, list multiple business opportunities for a real or a made-up project. Again, if you've got a current project you're working on, substitute that stuff here. If not, make up a scenario. Number 2, you're going to rate each one of those opportunities on a scale of 1 to 5 in 2 categories. And I'm going to show you examples of this, okay? So don't worry. First category, of course, is importance, right? How crucial is it that the business solves this problem? And again, the second category is feasibility. How realistic is it that we can actually design and build this solution that we're proposing or that solves this problem? So here's our example. Let's say that our client is an online bookseller. Okay, it's a website. We graph it like this, 3 columns: problem/opportunity. What's the issue and how do we think we can solve it? What's the importance of that particular possibility? And how feasible it is that we can do it. So let's say if we want to do more business, if we want to increase sales, we have some options. We can increase the number of unique visitors to the website, right? The volume of how many people are coming. We can increase the number of purchases per visit. Makes sense. If we can get someone to buy 5 or 6 things instead of 1 or 2 things, obviously that's a plus. We can increase the number of titles we carry. Maybe we don't have a wide enough selection. Maybe people aren't finding the books on the subjects that they care most about. We could also increase the number of authors. Again, maybe diversity is an issue. So again, these are made up. We're assuming that we've come up with these 4 possibilities, and now we want to figure out how important is each one and how likely is it that we can address each one. So again, on a scale of 1 to 5, I assign a value to each of these. First, I start with importance. Increase the number of unique visitors. That's pretty important, right? Because with more volume, the odds are that you're going to get more sales. So I'm going to give that a 4. Increase purchases per visit. If we could make that happen with the clientele, the current volume that we have now, that would be awesome. Okay, if we can get our current customers to buy more, that's like low-hanging fruit. That would be awesome. So I'm going to give that a 5. Increase the number of titles. We could do it, but there's no compelling evidence that more books in more areas would lead to more sales. All right, so we're giving that a 1. It's really not that important to us. We don't think it's going to solve the problem. Increase the number of authors. That might work. Okay, maybe we're overrepresented, by the small group of authors that we have, and people want something different. So we're not sure, so we're putting that right in the middle on a scale of 1 to 5. It's 3. In terms of feasibility, can we increase unique visitors? It would take a lot of money, a lot of marketing effort, a lot of outreach. And we know that, the return on this kind of stuff is like somewhere around 2%. So we would have to spend a whole lot of money and a whole lot of effort and probably get very little return. So feasibility is a 2. Increase purchases per visit. Well, we've already got some decent traffic. So if we could somehow incentivize people who are already on the website, okay, we know they're spending, 6 to 10 minutes on the site looking at stuff. if we can give them incentives, discounts, deals, 2-for-1 specials, whatever, we could probably do that. Okay, so feasibility, we're going to give that a 4. Increase the number of titles, again, sort of in between. Maybe we can do that, but there's also some legwork, some infrastructure cost. That means we got to store more merchandise. There's cost, there's risk associated. So 3 could be important, but the 3. Same thing with increased number of authors. Could we do it? Yeah, but is it the best use of our time? And do we have the time and the money and the personnel to make all these phone calls, to reach out to new authors, to research the books that they already have, to figure out whether they're even worth talking to in the first place? Sounds like a lot of work. So feasibility is a 3. All right, so we've rated both columns on a scale of 1 to 5 at this point. The question right now is, how important is it that you solve each problem or take advantage of each one of these opportunities? And how realistic is it that you can accomplish each one? Here's how you use these numbers. This is a formula. You take the middle score, okay, in each column. You multiply it by the number of opportunities, which equals the number of points available. Here's how that breaks out in our example. The middle score is 3. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, and what I have listed here, the total number of opportunities we have listed here is 4. Multiply 3 times 4, you get 12. All right, here's what that means. Here's what these points are. Think of points like dollars, okay? You now have points to spend. I can throw effort at any one of these things, and that effort is made up of a total of 12 points, okay? We have 12 points available to spend. How are we going to do it? If I add up this first column, importance, when I add all those, I get 13. Guess what? Not going to work because I only have 12 to spend, remember? Again, think of this in terms of dollars and cents. Think of it in terms of effort. That number represents what I have available. If I add up the feasibility column, I get 12. I'm right on the money, okay? But because importance is costing me more than I have to spend, I got to rethink some things, okay? Do I reevaluate both the importance and feasibility of each of these things? Do I rethink or eliminate some of these opportunities? Okay, if I go down this list, maybe increase number of titles because it's of low importance and it's of medium feasibility. I mean, maybe we just scrap that all together and focus on the other 3 things and allocate our efforts appropriately. Okay, are you getting a sense of how this works? You're figuring out, it's sort of forcing you to think about what really counts. What can we really do? What really matters? Finally, after you get both scores within the range of what you have to spend, you plot the results. Okay, so you draw a graph that looks like this. Our axes are still the same, importance and feasibility. So we had the opportunity to increase unique visitors. Here's where that fell on the scale. Okay, importance was a 4, feasibility was a 2. See where it falls? Strongly consider accommodating this. Might be worth doing, but it can't be the core focus of our efforts. Increased purchases per visit. Where did that fall? Well, importance was a 5, and feasibility was a 4. See where it falls? It's in the include or die section. That means we have to do this. It's a good idea. Increased number of titles. It was a 1 in importance and it was a 3 in feasibility. See where it lands? Ignore completely. Forget that. We're not doing it. Finally, we had an opportunity to increase the number of authors. That is a 3 in importance and a 3 in feasibility. Again, lands in the middle. So, if I'm consulting with this client, I tell them, number 1, you have to increase the number of purchases per visit. Let's go down that path first. Let's figure out what that's going to take in terms of effort, right? What activities have to take place, what we have to change, what we have to update, what we have to redesign, and let's start there. If there is time and money left over in your budget, then let's look at what we can do to increase unique visitors, right? Because that's a higher importance. It's a 4. And then if there's any left after that, then we'll consider increasing the number of authors. But that's our priority, okay? Those are the things that we're going to tackle first. So that's how this exercise works. It's very simple, and it works for anything that you are doing. I strongly encourage you to do this with your own projects, even if they're for yourself, okay? Take the time to give this some thought.